Can I ask you guys to please silent your phone, please? Clem. Um, it is good that we could gather here again this evening as we embark on another draft, the third draft for the Dream 11 Bago T10 Blast. Let me acknowledge Mr. Remind me again. Mr. Goddard from the sports division, who is here with us. All owners and sponsors of teams online and present with us at this point in time. Hold on. All right, sorry about that. Right, so we are here to draft 14 players per team. For 6 teams, we have the Kingsby Royals, Mount Irving Surfers, No Man's Land Explorers, Pirates Bay Raiders, Storby Snorkelers, Pigeon Point Skiers. So we have representatives from all these teams here. How the draft would go, we have 3 Tobago players being retained along with 3 non-Tobago players. The final draft would read 8 Tobago players and 6 non-Tobago players. An increase of Tobago players in the final 14 from the previous 2 years. As we know, the tournament starts on the 22nd of March and run until the 6th of April. We would be at Shore Park Recreation Ground. Maybe on some days we might get 3 games. Some days we get 2 games for 15 consecutive days. As usual, we expect exciting cricket based on the names that are in the draft. When you hear the players being drafted tonight, you would then see the quality of players that make themselves available. So we all should expect exciting, grilling cricket at Shore Park for 15 days. Is he ready? All right, we're just finishing up some logistics here. So in the meantime, let me just turn you over one time to Mr. Vice President, Mr. Cricket, Marcus, who would conduct the draft as we get ready to go into this evening proceedings. Marcus.
All right, thank you so much. So you guys can hear me clearly, right? So I don't need. Oh, for you. Oh, okay, cool. All right, so thank you so much, Mr. President. I can't start without the lovely ladies being ready. You guys are ready, right? So once again, good afternoon. In fact, good evening to each and everyone. Happy to see some new faces in the room as we draft for this third edition of the Dream 11 Bago T10 Blast. And obviously, My lovely ladies are telling me that we need to invite the Lord's presence here today. All right. As you are currently, let's bow our heads and close our eyes. Almighty Lord, thank you so much for yet another year of Dream 11 Bago T10 Blast. We want to thank you for all the things that you have done for this Tobago Cricket Association and all the sponsors and everyone coming together to make this event a reality. Lord, we ask for good weather, we ask for good camaraderie as we embark on this third edition at the Shore Park Recreational Ground. We ask for competitive and good cricket as well, dear Father. For those who are still on their way to this draft, please hasten their footsteps and of course guide them to get to this facility. We want to thank the proprietor of this facility, Mr. Shepard, for allowing us the space and of course also coming on board. Again, Father, thank you so much for everything. My prayer in your name, amen. All right, so again, let me, of course, recognize Mr. Shepard in the house today. Of course, he's on board as a sponsor with us. Thank you so much for your support and thank you for allowing us this space as well. Again, recognizing the president, other members of the Tobago Cricket Association, Mr. Philbert Joseph in the house. We have the second vice president, Mr. Oscar Orr, Katie Robinson, our assistant secretary. We have Tracy Caldera and Tandeka Moses in the house, to all the coaches and the players. And for those online, I know you guys are eagerly waiting for the composition of the 6 franchises. 14 players per team. 14 players per team. And what we would have done as an organizing committee would have allowed all the franchises to retain 6 players from last year's competition. And the 6 players you are allowed to retain, 3 Tobago players and 3 non-Tobago players. And we say non-Tobago players, which means you can have players from any part other than Tobago. It could be Trinidad, it could be Ghana, it could be Jamaica, it could be Barbados, anywhere in the world. Because I know we have some very affluent owners of the franchises and their hands can reach very far in that sense. So once again, for those who are joining us for the first time on Cricket 360, don't forget you can share the live, before we get into the draft. To recognize the 6 franchises: Shepherds in No Man's Land Explorers. Yes, put your hands together for Shepherds in No Man's Land Explorers. All right. Comfort in Pirates Bay Raiders, last year's beaten finalist. We have the Jagasar group of companies, store-based snorkelers. The defending champions, right? Defending champions? Yeah, defending champions. We have Best Choice Transportation Pigeon Point Skiers. Best Choice. Let's see how that plays off. And then we have Mount Irving Surfers and Kings Bay Royals, the 6 franchises that will be contesting this year's Dream 11 Bago T10 Blast. Before we get into the pulling for the order of drafting, just to identify the retained players. For the Pirates Bay Raiders, retained Nevin Stewart, Shaquille Duncan, Josh Telemark, the Tobago players. And the non-Tobago players are Evan Lewis, Marlon Richards, and Shamon Hooper out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I believe this is the 3rd year straight that he'll be playing in Tobago. And for the store-based snorkelers, we have, for the Tobago players, Atto James, Kenan Lynch, and Dejon Charles. And the Trinidad players, or the non-Tobago players, Terence Hines, Lendell Simmons, and Daniel Williams. For the Pigeon Point skiers, the Tobago players, Adrian Alexander, Jaden Kent, and Donovan Roberts. And the non-Tobago players, Jesse Bhutan, Akil Cooper, and Mbiki Joseph. For the No Man's Land Explorers, the Tobago players, Akwo George, Layman Lezama, Brandon Mark Brown. And the non-Tobago players, Dexter Sween, Anderson Mahez, and Chadion Raymond. For the Mount Irving Surfers, the Tobago players, Selvin Duncan, Kishon Dillon, and Ashon Pierre. And for the non-Tobago players, Christian Kalicharan, Damian Joachim, and Shatugan Rambaran. And the final team, the Kings Bay Royals, the Tobago players, Jaron Alfred, Orlando James, and Kwame Thomas. And the non-Tobago players, Nicholas Sukhdeo Singh, Kyle Ramdu, and Jabari Mills. So 6 players retained by all franchises. We're going to draw for an additional 8 players to comprise 5 Tobago players and 3 non-Tobago players. I want to invite one of the lovely ladies to assist me with the pulling for the order of the draft. I'm going to invite somebody from the respective teams to be here as well to draft. And for the players, for the all right, so guys, a name would have been excluded, Brandon Ramdial. So you can add Brandon Ramdial to your list if you are interested in drafting Brandon Ramdial. He's not in the list that you have in front of you, so you can add him to your list. He's a non-Tobago player. That's Brandon Ramdial. All right, we good there? So we're inviting one player or one person from the franchises to come up and draft at a time, starting with the comforting team. We're going with the Tobago players first, right? Tobago players, yes? 5 rounds of Tobago players. Comforting, please. And of course, viewers online, we also have Mr. Kalicharan on Zoom with us. Couldn't make it across, so he's online with us. Right, so Mr. Shepherdson, you can now come and do your pulling. In fact, can I have everyone to come up, please? Oh. No, I mean, let's come and pull a number. Let's pull a number, please. Thanks. Somebody else from our next team, please come and pull a number, please. Thank you. Orlando, who coming from next team? Let's come and pull. And we'll just reveal the numbers after. See, pulling for online, right? Yeah. Online, okay. All right, thank you so much. So, Raiders, let me know. Number 6 for Raiders, Tracy. Mr. Shepherdson, what number you have? Number 4 for Shepherdson. Number 4 for Shepherdson Explorers. What number, Mr. Transportation? Number 3 for, this is Best Choice Pigeon Point Skiers. Number 2 for Jagasar Group of Companies. That's store-based snorkelers. Yeah. Royals. This is Royals, right? Royals number 1. And Mr. Monctilvin Silvers online, number 5. You have those? Right, so we are ready for the drafting, right? Ready for the drafting? Number 1. So do we have mics at the back here, or we can hear it? Tanika, I don't know if you can assist me in passing the mic around because I believe you only have one mic. Oh. Right. So number 1. So we're going to draft for the Tobago players. We're going to draft for the Tobago players first.
Hear me?
Is mic on?
Right, so Davion Shangi.
Davion Shangi, first Tobago player drafted by the Royals. Number 2. Who has number 2? Right, that's Snorkelers.
Shaquille Johnson.
Shaquille Johnson. Shaquille Johnson drafted by the Snorkelers. Number 3. This is the Snorkelers. Not the Snorkelers. Skiers. Skiers. You're drafting from the list in front of you. And there's a list of Tobago players, and we have a list of non-Tobago players. The only name to be added?
Melville, sorry. Brandon Melville.
Brandon Melville. So there's some clarification. Your draft is? Antonio Providence, drafted by the Skiers, the Pigeon Point Skiers. Number 4, Keel Ross, drafted there by Shepherd's Inn. Keel Ross. And online we have number 5, that's Moncton Silvers, Mr. Goddard. Jaden Kent. Jaden Kent was retained. Jaden Kent was retained by the Skiers. So you have to come again, Mr. Kalituran.
Adrian Alexander.
He is also retained.
I can't hear properly and I can't everything. So
He was also retained.
okay. Don Roberts.
Also retained. Kali, you're watching. Are you looking online currently?
You have the list in front of
No,
you.
I'm on my phone, so I'm not seeing the names. Keel Ross.
He was just picked.
Keel Thomas.
Shaquille Thomas. Yes, you can have Shaquille Thomas. Thank you so much for that draft. I'd encourage you, if you can, before we get back to you, to have a view of the list, the listing, Mr. Kalituran. And the final number 6 was number 6. Pirates Bay Raiders.
The Pirates Bay Raiders select Joshua James.
Joshua James. Interesting. Joshua James. Joshua James. There's no mic question to answer. We anticipate that everyone that would have registered for the competition will be available. That's the most I can see. I mean, I will not register if I'm not available. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So that was number 6, right? That was number 6. So what happens if someone else draft Joshua and he's available? There's an avenue we can entertain. Yeah. So you're gonna maintain that draft? That's okay. All right. Joshua James for Raiders. Where do we go now, Tracy? Right back to Raiders again. So wrong number 2 for the Tobago players.
Okay, we select Daviel Thomas.
Daviel Thomas. Roxwood Strikers. Surfers, your pick, and this is Mr. Kalituran again. Mr. Kalituran. Moncton Silvers. Kalituran. Just ensuring that we have Clinton Brooks selected there by Mr. Kalituran. This is wrong number 2 of the local. Clinton Brooks, aka Bolivar. Number 4, Explorers. Andy Davis, drafted by the Explorers. Skiers. Brandon Melville. No. Brandon Melville. And you can always follow on the screen as well. Brandon Melville, drafted by the Skiers, the Pigeon Point Skiers. Snorkelers, your pick? Pardon me? Xavier Reed, selected by the Snorkelers. Royals. Akel Kwashi for the Royals. Wicketkeeper batsman out of Bloody Bay, selected by the Royals, and it's down to wrong 3. So we have completed 2 wrongs, 3 to go. We start off with Explorers. Kevon Samuel, drafted by the Explorers. skiers. Best choice transportation, Pigeon Point skiers. Anroy Devines, aka Butters, selected there by the skiers. And congratulations there to Anroy. Snorkelers. Michael Ramdas. Good to see Michael Ramdas drafted. Of course, one of the inductees at the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board's Academy. So good to see he's in the mix. Michael Ramdas, sometimes called Nicholas Ramdas. Royals. Quinton, so we just had Clinton. Now we have the junior Quinton Brooks drafted by the Royals. Left arm spinner. Into the third round for the locals. Raiders. Michael James, otherwise known as Bolly. Surfers. Surfers, yes. Simmons Peters, an entertainer in the field, very enterprising fieldsman. Simmons Peters, and very handy with the bat as well. End of round 3, so we have 2 rounds again to go to complete the local rounds. We start with skiers. The best choice transportation. I love this name. Shaquille Shepard. Shafiq Shepard. Newly minted police officer in Tobago. Drafted there. Very mean fast bowler. Very young players getting selected. Explorers. Explorers exploring the option of another local player. Shepherds in. Really want to thank all the sponsors for coming on board and supporting this Dream 11 Bago T10 Blast. Once again from March 22nd to April 6th at the beautiful Shore Park Recreational Ground. And the President would have mentioned we're going to have sometimes 3 matches per day. And I'm sure we're going to ensure that everyone is able to come in by charging a small fee. What, $20 we're going to charge? $25, eh? Charge $25. I figure charge 25. Mr. Pollard, are you ready for your pick? Are you still exploring? Is Joshua? Just verifying that he's registered. Joshua York? Joshua York, son of former national player Clint York, selected by the Explorers. Surfers. Is it surfers? Yes. Mr. Kalitoran all the way from Trinidad.
Yeah. Dario Melville.
Dario Melville, selected by Mr. Kalitoran. And some news, Dario Melville scored the first 100 in our domestic two-day club cricket league. 117 a blister and 117 not out. So he's in some form. A good pick there by, that's what, the Surfers, yes? Raiders, comforting Raiders. Micah Stafford. Micah Stafford. I think this will be our first for Micah in the Dream 11. Welcome to the big league, Micah. Royals, your pick. Dwayne Murray, otherwise known as Figo, my good friend all the way from Charlottesville, Tobago. And, I mean, we can argue that he's one of our better keepers here on the island. Mr. Murray. Good evening to you, sir. Snorkelers? Snorkelers with the final pick? In wrong 4, right? Pardon me? Zion James, drafted by the Snorkelers, a youngster. And we have had so many James selected here today. We have had Joshua James, Orlando James, Michael James, and now Zion James. It's a James affair in the Dream 11 Bago T10 Blast. End of round 4, and we're going to draft the final round in the locals, the Tobago players. So happy that we have had this opportunity to extend 8 Tobago players. That's 48 Tobago players involved in this Dream 11 Bago T10 Blast, the most ever. That's a plus for the Tobago players, an opportunity to rub shoulders with some national and regional players. So we're going to start off with surfers. Pardon me? This is the final round. We're on round 5 now. And we're going to start off with Mr. Collector on 9. Mr. Collector on?
Yeah. Ronaldo Lizama.
Ronaldo Lizama. And that was met with some applause in the room. Not too sure why. But Ronaldo Lizama, good all-rounder, in some good form as well, plays for Airports Authority here in Tobago. Drafted by Mr. Kalitaran. Welcome to the league there, Mr. Lizama, all-rounder. Raiders, comfort in Pirates Bay Raiders. Looking to complete the locals. Always an exciting time when we have the draft. Sometimes you have your players earmarked, but then in the back of the room, one of your names will get selected. It's all about balancing that scale as the Raiders aim for Cadwell Ruston Richards. Cadwell Ruston Richards making his debut in this Dream 11 Bago T10 Blast. Congratulations there, Mr. Richards. A very enterprising name, I must say. Royals with James and Jaron doing the picking here this evening. Cadell Richards, some new players in the mix. Cadell Richards, selected there by the Royals. Snorkelers, Theo Bruce, the superstar Theo Bruce, player for Bago Gladiators. Explorers, yeah? Jason Passard, selected by the Explorers. And I can tell you to be drinks on all of us tonight. Jason Passard, selected there by the Explorers. The final pick in this round for local players, it goes to the skiers. Mr. Hercules and Mr. Cohen, your final pick. Brandon has already been retained. Dwight Moore, the final pick for the Tobago players. And congratulations to all the Tobago players drafted. And I do hope that you guys make yourself or yourselves available to represent these franchises. So I have a question, because we want to make it as transparent as possible. You guys want to draft again want to pull again for the rungs for the Trinidad players? Or are we comfortable with the rungs going? Can you show by a raise of hand? Can you? So we're going to pick again, right, for the Trinidad players? We're going to pick again for the order. Thank you. So inviting all one from each table to come again, please. Come again. Right, so readers, what number? 62 readers, Tracy. Let me see what, open it, open it. Number 6. Explorers. Explorers number 3. Skiers, what number skiers? What number skiers? Number 1 to skiers. What number royals? Royals, what number? Number 2 to royals. 4 to snorkelers, right? Snorkelers. And 5 to to Kalitaran. That's Monk Tuvin. Yeah, surfers. So you have all it, right? So with this round, you are going to be selecting non-Tobago players. 3. The remaining slots. Each team allowed 14 players. So you're allowed to pick 3 non-Tobago players from the list in front of you. Remember, you can add Brandon Ramlial to your list. Brandon Ramlial to your list, right? Okay? So you're allowed to pick 3 non-Tobago players from the list in front of you. Only from the list in front of you, and not from who has already been drafted. That makes sense, right? So who has number 1? Skiers. Oh, Filton Williams, drafted by the Pigeon Point Skiers. Filton, that's PH, yeah. Williams. Number 2, Mark Dial, drafted by the Royals. No stranger to Tobago, Mr. Dial. St. Lucia Kings, he plays in the CPL4. Explorers, in fact, he returned to the Red Force, not the Red Force, but the TKR team. Tishon Castro, drafted by the Explorers. Very handy, Mr. Castro. Snorkelers. John Rush Jagasar, drafted by the Jagasar group of companies. Store-based snorkelers. Surfers, Mr. Kalituran. Ricky Jaipal. Really good pick there by Mr. Kalituran, left arm spinner. Very experienced at that. Raiders. Matthias Kumal. Hope I pronounced that name correctly, right? Matthias Kumal. Drafted there by the Raiders. All right. So that's the end of the first round for the non-Tobago players. We have 2 other rounds to go. Who's going to start first? Raiders? Yeah. Is it Raiders? Yeah. Yes? Rashad Ford, Bajan. He's making a return to the Tobago scene. Would have played here some years ago with Scarborough Mason Hall and would have been exploring other means out of the Caribbean. I've seen him in England as well. So welcome back, Mr. Ford. Rashad Ford. Very hard hitting batter and can give you some good seam as well. Out of Barbados. Yes. Surfers. Christian Turton, drafted by the Surfers. The Surfers challenging on paper. I've seen a smile on the face of the Royals. Snorkelers. Ewart Nicholson, a.k.a. Plucky, drafted by the Snorkelers. Very attractive opening batter, explosive. Explorers. Cleavon Calaran. That's Calawan. Cleavon Calaran, drafted by the Explorers. Keon Isaac, drafted by the Royals. And the final pick in this round of the non-Tobago players, the Pigeon Point Skiers. Rayan Williams, out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They will consider Tobago a home, given that they have been here for our Chief Secretary's Bago T10 Blast, and they are here again he's here again for the Dream 11 Bago T10 Blast. The final round, who has the first pick here, Tracy? Snorkelers. Sharon Lewis, left arm seamer. Explorers. Yeah. As we wind down this draft, Explorers exploring the options. Imran Khan, drafted by Shepherd's Inn, the No Man's Land Explorers, going for the experienced Imran Khan. Explorers. Royals, your final pick. Andrew Rambaran, drafted by the Royals. Skiers. Aaron Nanan, drafted by the Skiers. 2 picks remaining. Who are the players to fill those 2 spots? The Raiders, to complete your 14-man squad, your final pick. And as Raiders contemplate their final pick, just putting Mr. Kalitaran online, on standby. Readers, anytime today will be really nice. Riyad Emirates, our national coach, a national senior team coach, Riyad Emirates, drafted by the Raiders. And the final pick to complete this year's draft, the Dream 11 Bago T10 Blast, 3rd edition. Final pick, Mr. Kalitaran. Adrian Ali, drafted by the Mount Irving Surfers to complete this draft today. I think you guys did really, really well with your picks. And we now look forward to the availability of each and every player drafted here today. And just to go through the listing once again for viewers online who may not. Yes, well you can, yeah. So you guys can snap a picture there if you like. So the Pirates Bay Raiders, their theme: Nathan Stewart, Shaquille Duncan, Josh Telemark, Evan Lewis, Marlon Richards, Shamon Hooper, Joshua James, Daviel Thomas, Michael James, Micah Stanford, Cadwell Richards, Matthias Komal, Rashad Ford, and Riyad Emirates. Solid team there by the Raiders. And the Snorkelers: Terrence Hines, Lyndell Simmons, Daniel Williams, Atto James, Kellon Lynch, Dejon Charles, Shaquille Johnson, Xavier Reed, Michael Ramdas, Zion James, Theo Bruce, John Ross Jagasaw, Ewart Nicholson, Sharon Lewis. Pigeon Point Skiers: Adrian Alexander, Jordan Kent, Donovan Roberts, Jesse Bouton, Akil Cooper, Mbike Joseph, Antonio Providence, Brandon Melville, Anroy Devines, Shafiq Shepard, Dwight Moore, Filton Williams, Rayan Williams, and Aaron Nanan. For the Explorers: Akwo George, Lemon Lezama, Brandon Mark Brong, Dexter Sweeney, Anderson Mohays, Chedion Raymond, Keel Russ, Andy Davis, Kevon Samuel, Joshua York, Jason Posad, Tishon Castro, Clevon Calawan, and Imran Khan. For the Surfers: Christian Karicharan, Damian Joachim, Shatwigan Rambaran, Selvin Duncan, Keyshawn Dillon, Ashon Pear, Shaquille Thomas, Clinton Brooks, Simmons Peters, Dario Melville, Ronaldo Lizama, Ricky Jaipol, Christian Tilton, and Adrian Ali. Just do a little editing for me on Adrian's name. Adrian Ali. And for the Kingsbury Royals: Jaron Alfred, Orlando James, Kwani Thomas, Nicholas Sukdiyo Singh, Kyle Ramdu, Jabari Mills, Davion Shangi, Akel Koshi, Quinton Brooks, Dwayne Murray, Cardell Richards, Mark Dial, Kian Isaac, and Andrew Rambaran. The players drafted for the third edition of the Dream 11 Bago T10 Blast. Again, I want to thank all the owners, all the captains here today. I want to thank Mr. Shepard's Inn for the space once again. Thank you also for coming on board and supporting our cricket here in Tobago. Members of the Tobago Cricket Association, thank you guys so much for the support here today. I want to thank Cricket 360 for the streaming. And of course, to the viewers online, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank Mr. Goddard out of the Division of Community Development, Youth Development and Sport. And we look forward to a really exciting third edition. It has been amazing thus far. Once again, it's from March 22nd to April 6th at the Shore Park Recreational Ground. Please continue to follow the Tobago Cricket Association social media pages. We are on the Facebook platform and also Instagram. You can get all the updates there. And as I said before, I look forward to all the players drafted here making themselves available to represent these wonderful franchises. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Over and out.